Cool. Hey there, everyone. I wanted to record yet another video demonstrating the usefulness of the Bluetti EB3A, and also touch a little bit on why I feel like the Bluetti EB3A is the best portable power station that somebody on a budget can buy right now in 2022, but also something that even someone that has some big power stations and even maybe has some smaller stations, like not even just the River Mini here, but even something like this. This is called the Tecknett 155 watt hour lithium power station. TSA lets you fly with up to 160 watt hour batteries on your checked bag. So you could put up to 2 of these in a checked bag, which I think is really cool because this can charge my, what I'm recording this video on, M1 MacBook Air, like 2.5 times. So that's really useful. But aside from the niche of being able to take it on a flight, there's really no particular use for it. It takes a very long charge time due to not having a powerful, inverter box in there. Also, due to having only a 150 watt inverter, that little Tecknett 155 is limited. Like, say my one wheel pint, if I wanted to use like the ultra charger on it, I think it's like 180 watts. It would definitely trip it. Whereas the River Mini, that's like my go-to use, is go one wheeling on a big trip. I want to use my ultra charger. I have, the wireless for my phone, and then the ultra charger plugged up. So the River Mini for me personally has a use, despite the app not working properly or at all. The Bluetooth, the Wi-Fi won't connect properly to my phone. But that's my defective unit. But anyways, the main point of this video, that's a whole other video I'm making also right now. But to first touch on the Bluetti EB3A, I believe this is the most important generator to come out in the last couple of years. The reason is because for most use cases that other than someone living in a van life or something like that, for you are not the majority. So just compared to your average person that might be interested in something like this, you might be the majority of the type of person that is looking into portable power stations, or a large percentage. But the thing I'd like to bring up is that the sacrifice of the Bluetti EB3A is the capacity. It's the watt hour capacity. So where you're going to suffer on the EB3A opposed to other generators is the ability to put it in your car with no other generator, or your RV or your van or whatever, go off into the wilderness and just be there with no solar power or anything. You will really, right now I'm boiling water with this, okay? So it's at 100 degrees Celsius. I've only had it boiling for just this pot full. I've lost 9% of the capacity of its 268 watt hours. This is a 1,000 watt rated kettle, but I have the power lift feature on, which lowers the voltage. So it essentially tricks the device here. So this couldn't be a laptop, okay? It's gotta be a more dumb item, a hair dryer, a toaster, something like that. But for that guy camping, that just maybe a trucker, I could totally see this being a semi-truck driver. I could see this being the pinnacle of what you've been looking for, because due to having a Life P04 battery, charge cycle is no longer really even a factor, because 3,000 charge cycles to 80%, that's going to take you at least literally almost a year of every single day charging and discharging it 10 times. I mean, that is absurd. 8 times for more than a year. 8 times 365. Still, I believe, lower than 3,000. Something, my math might be off a little bit. But so anyways, I wanted to compare this physically to 2 main generators, and that's the Ecoflow River Mini and the Ecoflow River Pro. And the reason I want to do that is because the Ecoflow River Pro is still very portable. It's not, unlike the Bluetti EB3A, it's not practical to throw it in a backpack, but in my opinion, that's due to it weighing 17 pounds. That's not due to its size. If this weighed 10 pounds, you could throw it in a backpack. The Bluetti EB3A weighing 10 pounds, in my experience with my wider backpacks, it fits perfectly. With my more skinnier backpacks, you really it doesn't go flat in the bottom and you got to turn it sideways, but it still fits, even in my medium-sized backpacks. In a small backpack, it would need to have a really wide opening. But essentially, the Bluetti EB3A is about 1/3 the capacity of the Ecoflow River Pro, and it charges 200 watts slower, which sounds like, two pretty big negatives, but it's two positives, or I would say three positives when you factor price in. Its two main spec positives would be LiFePO4 battery, which has many times the capacity of a lithium-ion generator. That makes the 268 watt-hour capacity, and the fact that you're going to be fully charging it and then fully discharging it a lot more, that makes that a lot less of a issue, because when you have a high charge cycle, assuming you have power, you can go find a Pete's Coffee or a Starbucks, or maybe you can charge at some public place. There's scenarios where on my one wheel, you find a lot of outlets here and there. It's questionable how legal it is to charge your one wheel up. But if you need to, in a pinch, in 1 hour, you have this thing almost fully charged. So 268 watt hours is not great. 720 is much more desirable. But when you start to look at charge cycle, that's where it kind of falls short. Then you look at weight and you realize 17 pounds to 10 pounds is almost twice the weight. So at least for me, the Ecoflow River Pro being in my van compared to the Delta Pro is a huge difference, obviously, 100 pounds to 17 pounds, but they're both not really that portable. They're both relatively, gonna stay in one spot, generally speaking, for the most part. So for me, I've tried to think of where the Ecoflow River Pro could apply more, and I would think like home backup power, like backup, ideally, because something like the Delta Pro, if it's in your price range, being LiFePO4, and just generally speaking, bound to last many years and hold its value, assuming you buy it for some discount, is a wiser backup for a home power station. That's just like a fact. But again, when talking about all these things, price has to be factored in. And so this Ecoflow River Pro right now is costing like $520, $540. That's pretty much as cheap as I'm seeing it. So a brand new. So I'm sure you could buy a refurbished one for a little less. So to compare that to a 268 watt hour generator that's being sold at $250, it's like you should expect it to be a lot more. But one thing that I feel like a lot of people don't think about, that it took me having a whole lot of different power stations to really realize, and that's a huge part of why I'm making this long form video right now, it's that the portability, in my experience, for just putting something in a backpack and going about your day, and it's not some huge inconvenience, it's capped at like 10 pounds. Anything more than 10 pounds, and it's like, this is so noticeable, I can't put other stuff in my bag now. So, anyways, I have here demonstrating some pu'er tea, it's like an aged black tea, and I put the Bluetti EB3A in power lift mode. So right here, it's running 358 watts, it says right now, 1,000 watt kettle. And to me, this is just amazing, because I actually, I did preemptively, admittedly, buy the Ecoflow River Mini without really reading up on the specs too much. A huge part of that is because I love the Delta Pro and I love the River Pro. They're great products, and I thought, okay, Ecoflow made a super small power station. It is nickel, cobalt, magnesium. It's not lithium ion, it's not LiFePO4, but it's still lithium. technology, and it suffers from a low charge cycle. So, anyways, I did preemptively buy this, and from a couple videos I had watched on it, including one that shows like, can it make coffee? The guy like blends up like an instant coffee with some like warmed water or something. So no, it can't make coffee is the answer. But the implication from watching the video is it seems like it can make coffee. So I wanted to show me boiling water with a 1,000-watt kettle in powerlift mode, because the River Mini does not have a X Boost or powerlift feature. Bluetti down here copied this brand with their X Boost, what they call, where they lower the voltage, so you can use a higher powered item, such as a blow dryer or something, a hair dryer or something like that. That is very important to me to explain, because I can't be alone here in buying the River Mini. Look, it looks like an art piece. I actually, just due to basically already having, this little guy, and now having the EB3A, and having the River Pro and the Delta Pro, and quite a few other random ones I bought over the years, I wanted to return this, but I got it for like $220 on some sale they were having, brand new, about like 3 months ago or 4 months ago or so. And my biggest disappointment, honestly, was the IoT button right here, Iot Reset. I can hold it and hold it and hold it and keep holding it, and no Wi-Fi sign will show up. What that means is it will not connect to my app. My River Pro does, and it works great. My Delta Pro does, and it works great. My River Mini will not, but it did. So something went wrong. It worked. I got the firmware update. And then when I tried, the next day to use it, I wanted to see from away from my van how much power it was using. And it just wouldn't connect. So I tried holding the Iot Reset. I tried holding the Iot Reset button, and no Wi-Fi logo would show up on the screen like it did the first time. I contacted Ecoflow. They told me how to fix it. It didn't work. And they told me to basically contact FedEx to set up an appointment for a return. And all of this was with me having the misunderstanding that this came with an X Boost feature that offered this level of power, 1,200 watt surge, 600 watt surge. To me, that is profound. But I still want to keep this guy. Why do I still want to keep this guy? 2 reasons. One, I like backpacking. I like going on a 2-day journey. I have a couple little foldable solar panels that work in this. And it just looks nice. I mean, it's this handle. I hope more designs like this come out, because they outdid themselves. It reminds me of like Apple, where they do weird stuff like the Iot Reset, where they could have just I mean, at the end of the day, like, I prefer Bluetooth. I'm super biased against the Wi-Fi, because what has happened to me with my River Pro is I went out in the wilderness after buying it and downloading the firmware update, and I was so excited to use my X Boost feature, to use my 800 watt espresso machine. And what happens? I turn on my Ecoflow and X Boost is not on. I go to the app and it says, please connect to Wi-Fi. You download the firmware and then you can, and I'm like, I already downloaded the firmware. Like, I was blood boiling mad that Bluetti has never done anything like that, in my experience, where you are basically like not able to use the key features of the device without getting a firmware update. What Bluetti does do that is unfortunate is they embed within their app the power lift feature. So the ability to take this kettle right here that's rated at 1,000 watts and boil water with it, that ability is unlocked when you download their app. Personally, I think that is atrocious. I think Bluetti should hang their heads in shame at that move. Really take a look in the mirror. And then I talk to myself and I say, take a look in the mirror. You're supporting them by buying these products. This is true. However, look at what it's doing. I mean, I have a smartphone. At the end of the day, I think this is like a creeping, the Internet of Things. It's something that is pervasive in our society. You cannot buy a microwave with any smart features nowadays that doesn't connect to some update. A lot of this goes into manufacturing laziness and not wanting to basically perfect a firmware before releasing a product, and just knowing like we could just pump it out and people can just update it and we can solve the bugs as time goes on. Reasonable enough if it's, not a thing made for living off grid for some people. But the idea that some people literally plan to take this for months to go off on some trip somewhere, it's like, I get it that there's a disconnect between these Chinese portable power station companies and what I would assume is like a commonly American market. I'm sure I'm well aware from reading comments and review videos and whatnot that plenty of Europeans and Canadians, South Americans are also buying these items, obviously. But I know in America it's a very common thing. I know plenty of people with the Ecoflow River Pro. I've never heard anything bad about it other than what I just said, which is basically why can I download a firmware update and then 3 days later go off into the woods, go off into some beach coastline far from cell service, try to turn it on to then turn on my X-Boost that I had off in case I wanted to power sensitive items. I for right reasons wanted to have it off. And when I turn on the app, it says, sorry, download our update. It's just a shame because like at the end of the day, if you guys want to push this whole Internet of Things onto the people, then give us what we want, Like don't take away features that always were there, that you're now like giving us little cookie crumbs leading us to your app, because that's obviously what's happening. So Ecoflow and Bluetti, I love your products and your innovations. Ecoflow, especially with your IoT Wi-Fi connectivity, shame on you. Thank you for the Delta Pro being LifePO4 and using Bluetooth and not Wi-Fi. I think the reason is because you guys know that the Delta Pro is one of those items that many of the super off-grid minded van life people love that product. This is my presumption. I am making a complete assumption here, okay? But the fact that you make that one the one that uses Bluetooth and all your others connects using Wi-Fi tells me that you wish everyone was just cool with the Wi-Fi, but you're aware that that's not the case. So anyways, Bluetti, I do give you props for using Bluetooth, and unlike Ecoflow's River Mini, at least your EB3A works and connects, and unlike the River Pro, at least your EB3A doesn't just not let me use key features because I'm not near a Wi-Fi router and internet connection, which is a pervasive reason why you buy these items. So anyways, sorry for that rant, guys, but that's something that is a huge reason why I'm even recording this video, because I have a one wheel, I have an iPhone, I have had MacBooks since 2012 or so. I love Apple's products, generally speaking, for video editing and user interface, but I always have Parallels or some form of Windows on my Mac. I enjoy having a jailbroken iPhone until it glitches. And I love modding my one wheel and having third-party aftermarket items on my one wheel. Common ties between these companies is they are setting up barricades between their own consumer base and being able to actually enjoy their products in a way that is personalizing. So think about the early days of the iPhone and people jailbreaking them. Apple didn't like that, but you go into the Genius Bar and you find out there's plenty of guys in the Genius Bar that have jailbroken iPhones, or you look at Future Motion's videos on their one wheel and you see their own team riding modded one wheels where they're literally doing things to the actual one wheel that the company tells anybody that buys it, if you do this, we will not fix this for you. We will actually not even let you pay to get it fixed in certain scenarios with chip modification, charge and ride setups and stuff. Anyways, I love this kind of technology, hoverboard kind of stuff, electric unicycle, stuff like that. And even like the iPhone. Modern technology is very cool, and I'm a big fan of it. What I'm not a fan of is the companies themselves. And I'd like to kind of make a voice for the guy that still wants to buy the products and support the companies therefore, but would like to voice some of the issues I have. And that gets me into, buying used. I buy all of my Apple products, all of my Future Motion products used. I do not buy my generators used, though someday I will, once they're making 20,000 watt hour, power stations, because effectively using it for a year won't devalue it the same way using a 268 watt hour or 210 watt hour power station for a year will devalue it due to, natural battery degradation. Anyways, the whole right to repair thing, I don't think that's a solution either, necessarily. Making more big government mandates, is it the solution when it comes to something like right to repair? It's hard to say, because more big government, more bureaucracy, more red tape, more pay to play as the carbon tax, trading carbon taxes. Big corporations have been doing that for many years now. To some level, the system cannot fix itself with more bureaucracy tape. And the whole right to repair thing, to some degree, the consumers will need to take a stand. And one of those places I think the consumer can take the stand is buying the product, because you understand that in some cases with Bluetti or with Ecoflow even, maybe, they're not as bad as Apple, or they're not as bad as Future Motion. Or I'd say, if anyone's familiar with John Deere, the tractor company, atrocious, disgraceful. Can't think of enough bad words about a company. This company, John Deere, supports the farmers of America and has swindled them for decades into buying products that are basically maliciously worked on, my own belief, because the reason I say maliciously worked on is because they are the only ones that can see what's wrong with it. John Deere has this technology where only they can see what's wrong with the product, the tractor or whatever, with their chip reading and all this stuff. And so they're highly incentivized to sell tractors that break down faster, just based on that alone, as Future Motion is with their one wheels. And, what if somebody dies on one of those and, they died because it broke down because of something that was embedded into the system to break it, to get more money for repairs? That's a reality we're headed towards, especially with, I was reading on one of Louis Rossmann, his YouTube channel, one of his recent updates. He was talking about BMW charging $18 a month to use an electric seat. But here's the kicker. It already is in the car. Your car already has that electric seat. BMW is turning it off. And so it's that's where I think there's got to be some level of a consumer revolution of saying we won't stand for this. Is having an app limiting key features, is that going to be enough for you, someone that might be looking at this? I'd say with the Bluetti EB3A, no. The reason is straight up, they aren't as bad as Apple. And I think buying one of their cheaper products and then as a consumer, Maybe go give it a 4-star review on their website or on Amazon. Maybe a 3-star review. Maybe a 1-star review if that's what you think is fair. And in that review, mention you guys could put this power lift feature right here in a button. You could, but you don't. And you don't because you want us to buy your app. You want us to be on your app for the same reason that BMW wants you buying that $18 a month electricity to warm up your seat on a subscription. You know, it's BS. It's utter BS. And anyways, taking a principled stand is just becoming increasingly important with this stuff. But I don't think it's so black and white as say never buy that product. I have never made my own lithium cell. I've built a solar system in regards to like connecting an MPPT to a solar panel to an inverter to a battery. Okay, I've built a solar system, but I like the plug and play. I like the simplicity, and I don't want to be excluded or left behind from this new technology, all because I'm taking a principled stand at one particular, I'd say like deficit of the company. I mean, it's almost like a blindsidedness because it's something that clearly people would like to use. Clearly, if you could go to a booth and show, I know Bluetti does these, at like a RV convention, they'll do these booths, and it's like, like theoretically, if you showed that power lift button, turn on and off, it's important to turn on and off all the time. If I want to plug up my MacBook right after boiling water, I have to turn that feature off there, or I'm at risk of accidentally plugging up my MacBook and, at least from what I understand, potentially giving it too low a voltage, which for a advanced system can mess up the battery. So anyways, all that being said, that is very long-winded, I know, but I feel like it's important to go over because I'm sitting here selling the Bluetti EB3A. I'm telling you why I think it really is the best portable power station you can buy today. But it's important to mention some of these negative aspects of it. And a lot of them aren't out of Bluetti's control. And that's, it's one of the sad things about our current state of consumerism is that basically we have to voice our opinions as you can't go to Bluetti EB3A and tell them, I'm thinking about buying this product, but the fact that you guys don't have that means I'm not going to buy it. Like, you can. You're more than welcome to. But in my opinion, it holds more weight to say, I bought this product and I'm gonna go give you a 1-star review on Amazon. I'm not going to return it because I like it, but I'm going to go give you a 1-star review on Amazon. And I'm going to say in the review, it would be 5 stars, but it's 1 star. And the reason it's 1 star is because you didn't put a button or a switch for power lift, but you added power lift. You had the ability to add it into the freaking generator, but you didn't want to switch because you want us on your app. And that is manipulative and it is corrupt. And you guys being Chinese owned, I'm just saying, doesn't help. The idea that if you were an American owned company, theoretically, you having an app, even One Wheel, like, I don't mind using their app as much as I feel a little off. Like, okay, maybe theoretically there's some underlying xenophobia, who knows? But I don't think so. I have no negative emotions towards the Chinese people. I love the Chinese people. I sit here and I drink pu'er tea all the time. Chinese checkers, let's go. But it's like the idea that basically you can't have a problem with a company wanting your data when it's like America as a country is at odds in many aspects with China as a country, and China being CCP run, there is no big corporation or big company in both these companies, even Tecknett over here, even Bonavita right here, this kettle. None of these companies are not, tied in with the CCP. So the more information you're going to give them, obviously, like, it's the whole I have nothing to hide or whatever, that, generally speaking, it seems like the majority of people kind of take their stance there. But anyways, I don't feel comfortable sharing my location data with, generally speaking, like a Chinese company that for some reason wants to put a Wi-Fi router in a portable power station. When it's unnecessary, you could do it with a Bluetooth connectivity and not have location data, tracking me to some degree. But anyways, I'm digressing. The main point of this is to, mention the negatives and then highlight the positives. So I have mentioned what I regard as every negative. The final negative I will go over is that the Bluetti EB3A is a little large, but that is due to the Life PO4 battery. But when I say that, and then I feel, I did this in my comparison between the River Mini and the Bluetti EB3A. But in my opinion, even just looking with a flashlight into the holes in the side there, or just knocking, it's very obvious that the Bluetti EB3A has space, air, just open space inside of it. So theoretically, I hope that down the road you guys can come out with a smaller version of it, because the weight is pretty much as heavy as it could be. The space it's a little too big. It is. I have made do with it, but where I first thought, because it's Life PO4, I'm going to want to take it on all my little journeys where I just go, one wheel to the beach, or one wheel or electric unicycle to the mountain or to the city or whatever. I thought I was going to put the Bluetti EB3A in every time, no doubt about it, go on my journey, charge it up, heat up water, whatever I do on my journey, go back home, charge it up there, maybe even charge it up at a public beach park or something, which I regularly do. What ended up happening is the River Mini became my go-to. So this, I guess, expands the Ecoflow River Mini's usefulness beyond just backpacking. Somebody that basically rides an electric scooter or an electric unicycle or a one-wheel or an electric bike, this extra 210 watt hours of power doesn't necessarily need to be used to charge your device. For me, I love throwing my laptop in my bag, going up to a view and working on my computer while looking over the ocean. To me, it's just a nice thing to do. So anyways, the EB3A is just a little too big in most scenarios to do that without it being like really feeling like, oh, I got something in my backpack. So anyways, I know I've had quite the tangent here about why the Bluetti EB3A has, some issues when it comes to specifically its size. I think the weight's okay. 10 pounds is reasonable, but comparing it to 6 pounds, I guess for me, it's like, if you have both, they both have a use. But if you're going to talk long-term and money, being something that we all, care about in terms of, how much of it we have, not all of us need it as much as the other guy. And some of us have a lot more of it than the other guy, but in 1 year of using it every day, this will be much worse than it was, and this won't be. So I can buy this Ecoflow River Mini, and I can know in 1 year it won't work as good as it did, but that's okay because it's lithium ion, it doesn't weigh as much. Basically be an informed consumer and don't be surprised when in a year its capacity kind of isn't that great if you're using it all the time. But by that logic, you were using it all the time. So, if you're getting use out of it, it's like, might as well, right? What's the problem? Well, the problem is environmental people will have a problem with that. But backpackers, generally speaking, to shave off a few pounds, you will pay hundreds. Go look at mountaineering brand sleeping bags or Snow Peak titanium or any backpacking stuff. It's hundreds of dollars more than its camping counterpart. And the reason is just to shave off 10, 20, 30% of the weight. So anyways, I love backpacking, and once you go on one journey of just even a few miles into the wilderness, you realize how having a few pounds less on your back is kind of a big deal. So anyways, I think now I can go over some of the key features of the Bluetti EB3A. The first one is this light here. So that's half power, that's full power, SOS mode, which I'm a fan of because who knows, maybe it saves a life someday, and then back off. So pretty simple. The River Mini does not have a light, so there's no comparison. The River Pro does have a light. And it's the same 4-click, half full SOS off. So I don't notice too much of a difference in brightness. If anything, the River Pro is slightly brighter. Take one for the team here and just go ahead and look. I'd say half power is actually Bluetti, so glad I did this test here. Whew. Wow. Okay, full power. I've just blinded myself a little bit. But full power is also the Bluetti. So I was actually mistaken there. Bluetti is brighter. From what I can tell, I just stared blatantly into it. So the Bluetti EB3A costing $250 has a brighter light than the $500 Ecoflow River Pro. That's pretty cool. Not everybody will use that light, and many will never use it. But for those who will, that's incredibly useful. And the more portable the power station, the more useful the light. To me, this has been the best flashlight I have ever had. Again, this is the Tecknett 155. I do not recommend any of these 155 watt-hour generators to anyone that does not fly, because you're paying too much. Go buy something that is larger, bigger inverter. To plug up a MacBook USB-C plug into this takes hours to charge it fully. Where that's where getting into the Bluetti EB3A, not just the Bluetti EB3A, Bluetti and Ecoflow, where you guys are above and beyond, and where I give both of you guys all the credit is this is how you charge your devices. Notice no power brick, guys. This charges at 300 watts. You can look at a chart, but somewhere around like 90%, that's incrementally lower. So obviously not the entire time it charges at 300 watts, but it peaks at 300 watts and the majority of its power is put back into it at 300 watts. Pretty cool with no inverter. So again, for backpackers, obviously you're not gonna use this, but it can also pack, I believe, I'm 99% on this, it's 100 watts of solar. I actually have the River Mini specs up here in case I needed it, which looks like I do. So River Mini charges to 80% in 1 hour flat. As they say, that's way faster than a power bank. They are correct. It is not as fast as the 400 watt Bluetti EB3A, but maybe they didn't know that was coming out soon. So solar charging. Okay, so charge from 100 watts of solar in 3 to 6 hours. Well, yeah, 100 watts of solar will give you, 50, 60, 70, 80 watts. So that makes sense. Yeah, sometimes got to click twice to turn on the River Mini. I like wireless charging my phone on it. So where was I going with this? Is solar charging is better on the EB3A, but if you're backpacking, you are not carrying a 200 watt panel. So for all intensive purposes, as long as you can keep this thing dry, the River Mini, I guess the caveat, it doesn't have a light, which the scenario you would use the light the most is camping. You should have a headlight. You shouldn't rely on a portable power station for light when camping or backpacking. That's just kind of silly. A headlight works and keeps working. Bring a backup. But, you don't need to go overkill when you go backpacking. That's kind of part of the beauty of getting out in nature. anyone that doesn't currently get out in nature, I encourage you to go glamping. Even if you know, have to go get like a hotel, or like a cabin, an Airbnb maybe, if you could find one. But there's something really nice, in my opinion, going from being like an avid camper since I've been an adult, which is like 9 years ago, to now being a avid backpacker. And I have like a camper van, and I've spent like 5 years in Hawaii, in Kauai, and to me, like, getting out in nature is more important than getting basically like, you know, like your knowledge, or like, you know, woke or wisdom or whatever. Whether you're watching Ben Shapiro or Don Lemon, I don't care. The idea that basically like you need some fresh air, you need to go to work, you need to go work out, you need to breathe and chill, not just like, you know, smoke on the couch, but like calm down, dude. Like, we have an overstressed society. So it's a huge part of why I'm making videos, is I've been throughout my life a pretty, like, I can get aggressive when I'm upset, but generally I don't care about much. And anyways, the whole point of this is this type of technology, for me, it allowed me to go out into nature and still have my, you know, my tea. So anyways, this is a little personal, but I have sold tea to restaurants all over Hawaii for many years now, under Fluid Fire Tea. But since like the pandemic and everything, I'm over here in California right now, and anyways, I spent a good bit of 2020 in the wilderness of like Oregon, going around hot springs and stuff. And I used so much butane to boil water, just to make some tea. And I had at the time like a solar powered station. I had like two separate 100-watt solar panels, one permanently on my roof and one as like a fold out. And that was enough to keep my computer, my Bluetooth speaker, and like enjoy modern amenities while being out in the wilderness. But for me, again, this is super personal, but it's something I feel like could apply to a lot of people. The ability to boil water, and I have a rice cooker. I have an espresso machine it's called low draw. If you just go on Amazon and search low draw, whatever you're looking for, you could find anything that runs lower power. That's like a traditional espresso machine. It won't pull the same pressure as like, you know, a coffee shop one. But it's pretty good. I love straight espresso, and I love tea, and I love hot food while I'm camping. And the way to do that is a portable power station like this. Because before this, even as late as 2020, I was using butane and propane, and basically like I would go out for a few days. I would, you know, I got my Bluetooth speaker, I got my like you know, my lights and sounds and my heated blanket, and I feel like I'm glamping, but I still need to go back to Walmart or the hardware store and find some propane and some butane, which in midsummer can be hard to come by. So sometimes I go back into town and every store is sold out of propane and butane, and I'm like, well, I'm not gonna not, you know, make food for a few days. Like, I'll just wait until they're back in stock. Oh, I'll go check online, and it's like, oh, butane is all like, you know, $5-6 a can on Amazon right now because everybody's buying it. So Amazon sellers can sell it for higher. So anyways, again, pretty personal, pretty niche of a scenario. However, I feel like it's relevant. The amount of happiness I get from being able to go on a drive like 2 hours into the mountains and nobody is anywhere around me. I have no cell service, but I got lights, I got sound, I downloaded some cool videos, and I'm just sitting there and just feeling like a little kid, you know, on Christmas. And yeah, to me, like, that's a really important thing. So anyways, I just feel like the more power you can have, the more fun you can have. If you're like a nerdy kind of guy that likes, you know, one wheeling or like unicycling or electric unicycling, not the pedaling kind. But yeah, those things don't really have that big of batteries. Like, I mean, some of them are pretty big, but like the watt hour per mile you get out of them is like unbelievable. So yeah, like you don't need that much solar power charging your power station to be able to like keep that sustained. So anyways, the big things that set these three power stations apart from any other portable power stations over the recent years is the built-in power brick. That's even Bluetti up until the EB3A did not have this feature. So yeah, to me it's like it's cool, it's nifty, but it's functional, and it's something that, like, you know, the whole form follows function thing. It looks nice, and it makes it so much more. I don't know, like how many people actually like threw in a power brick like one of these older versions into a backpack, and they would go on like a maybe with their e-bike or something, they'd go on a journey, and then when they charge it up at you know the view, or when they're halfway, and then finally they're on their way back home and they pass the public power they could charge up at. For me, state parks here, you could charge up stuff, and then they have this massive power brick. Like, I've thought a lot about that because I had a big silver power station that was 1,000 watt hours and 1,000 watts, and it had a massive power brick, and it charged at like 150 watts, which I thought was pretty good. But 300, so 2 times the charge rate of my 1,000 watt generator that I paid almost $1,000 for a few years ago, with a power brick. 300 watts with no power brick, 400 watts with no power brick, 600 watts with no power brick. So I can't get over that. That's huge. Because even someone that like doesn't have solar, like I actually, one of my flexible solar panels that I regularly used when I'm here at this condo here, I sold it because to me it's like the only scenario I needed it was kind of like a novelty. Like now, because I go to like Santa Barbara or like up in like Oregon, like Brookings, Oregon, Mackenzie Bridge, Oregon, like I'm always, even though I'm in wilderness, I can go back to a town, there's hotels, there's coffee shops, there's, you know, you go buy a espresso or something, and now you could charge up a little bit. And yeah, to me, it's like, I feel like there is a freeing feeling to being able to charge these things quickly. So can't go over that enough. And then on top of that, not only did they put these massive power bricks inside of the power stations, but they also have big inverters in there. So now you see things like this. This 3 years ago, a 10-pound generator that's Life PO4 powering a 1,000 watt kettle was not something that I even thought would be feasible within years. But the Ecoflow River Mini, while it's not capable of doing that, there are some 600 watt kettles, so it could theoretically boil water, which I just think is amazing. But yeah, I think, you know, so I've gone over its power. It does have one USB-C 100 watt port, as does the River Mini. But it's important to note, my River Mini is the wireless version. Oh, well, my phone, oh, it says charged. Okay, so it was charging. It just takes a while to turn the screen off. So the Ecoflow River Mini non-wireless version, I don't even know why they made that, honestly, other than to like give to YouTubers and I don't know, to sell at a huge discount. The way I can see it on their website and Amazon, they're selling it for like $10 less. So it's like, who's gonna buy that? Like, obviously, like pretty much anyone that has $250 would pay the extra $10 for the one with wireless charging and USB-C, if anything, just for resale value. But anyways, I wanted to point that out because the Bluetti EB3A does not even have a model that does not come with USB-C, but the Ecoflow River Mini, it just has like an empty space there. So yeah, something to point out. But yeah, so this video is going to be mainly directed at basically why I believe the Bluetti EB3A is the best power station you can buy today. This applies to even somebody that just wants like their first power station, because if you have some power tools that you might want to run somewhere else, like I have another good example beyond just boiling water, and I'll mention it as I'm pouring this cup of pu'er tea. So I got the tea there, boiling water. It's pretty cool stuff because you fill up the pot with pu'er and then you can just drink it like cup after cup. But another use case for the EB3A is my dad has some vacuum cleaner that is like rated at like 600 watts, and I used it in my car, and it's awesome. I mean, it's like called I forget. They say it's the most powerful handheld vacuum ever. That's like the claim. He got it from Costco for a couple $100. But to me, it was just really cool to use this this vacuum cleaner with this tiny little power station. It ran it dry pretty quick. I'd say 20 minutes. It was on like 10% battery, which is expected. But it was just a cool thing. You know, it's like the idea that I then bring this generator back inside, plug it up, watch a TV show or a basketball game or something, and it's fully charged now. That is like a classic scenario. I could just see your everyday guy wanting to use the EB3A, where the River Mini would also work in that scenario just as well. The only thing is, while vacuuming around the car or the van, there was scenarios where I moved the EB3A to the other corner, so I could then, not a big deal, you could do it with the River Mini too, or the River Pro. But yeah, there's just something, I guess the fact that I have the two different ones, I can't help but be like, well, in this case, I would prefer this one. And since I have both, I'm going to keep both, because, for vacuuming the car, as long as you don't need to vacuum it for 45 minutes or almost an hour, you don't need the 600 or 720 watt hour generator. You could use that 268 watt hour EB3A. And at least for what I can tell, there's not, other than like a fridge or like I really don't know what else other than a fridge. There's not a lot of things. Air conditioning. That's it. Yeah. But there's not much outside of that has like a super high like startup draw. So like generally speaking, like the River Pro, I saw some YouTube video by Hobotech where he could charge something that was like 1800 watts and it was still running fine. Where it's got a surge at 1200 watts. So if it's rated higher than that, this is rated at 1000 watts. So, and I've purposely just been continually boiling the water throughout this whole talk. This is down to 68% battery. So it's unbelievable to me. The fact that it charges at 400 watts, like that means when I plug it up into the wall, it's charging for every 2 minutes in the charger in the wall, it's getting almost 1 minute of straight boiling water. And it's like, I'm not going to just sit here for hours and hours boiling water. Obviously it would die, but like, you boil it and then it boils and then it stays hot for a while. And it's kind of like a fridge, like people look at the rated specs for a mini fridge or something and often forget that like the fridge kicks on like 3 or 4 times an hour. It's not like it's constantly cooling down, running all that electricity. So anyways, not trying to talk down to anyone that I'm sure is more aware about all this type of watt hour stuff than me. But from anything I can tell, from the guys I know that have RVs, the guys I know that go on surf trips, unless you're a backpacker or you're only buying one, if you're only buying one and you're basically never going to throw it in a backpack. So you're only going to buy one and you're not a backpacker or a camper. There's no scenario you're going to throw that thing in a backpack just to walk 2 minutes to a campground. The River Pro's the winner. If you can afford the $500, even though it's lithium ion and it has a low charge cycle, it's just a no-brainer that the Ecoflow River Pro is the best power station you can have today. So anyways, I'm titling this video, the Bluetti EB3A is the best power station that I think you can buy today in 20, or let me see, I had, sorry about this, but okay. So I think that was it. So the Ecoflow River Pro is the best portable power station money can buy in 2022, and the Bluetti EB3A, it is the most useful portable power station you can buy in 2022. So I hope to draw a nice line there that differentiates between the two. So if you can only buy one and you can afford the $500, really, if you could afford the Delta Pro that's $2,500 used or $3,500 new, go get the Ecoflow Delta Pro. In my opinion, that is the greatest power station that exists today, but it's not portable at all. But many would argue the River Pro is not really that portable either, virtually at all, because you're not going to even want to walk it 2 minutes, to a campground. It's just, I mean, maybe I will as a 27-year-old guy, and maybe someone else will. I'm not that strong, but for me, 17 pounds, couple minutes, not a big deal. I could see how, in my experience, it's not the weight. It's more so just having a $500 power station at a campground versus having a $250 campground or a $250 power station at a campground. This is preferable, just in and of itself, because it's cheaper. And at a campground, someone could steal it. They could cut through the tent, whatever. So that happens. So it's not even just the weight; it's also the price of it. But so yeah. Anyways, this video was going to be the Bluetti EB3A is the most useful power station money can buy in 2022. I still might title it that because that's kind of the crux of this whole video. But I did want to kind of garner my experience with months of use of the River Pro, and I do believe the Ecoflow River Pro, yes, it's $500, but I believe it's the best power station money can buy today, summer 2022, July 2022, maybe next year. That's not true anymore. Maybe Ecoflow comes out with another product that blows their own River Pro out of the water. Who knows? But I'm looking forward to the future, and I hope you guys are too, because this stuff is coming out quick, and even with inflation, prices on them seem to have over the years dramatically gone down, and hopefully that continues to be the case. Obviously, eventually it will hit a threshold, and generally speaking, I don't see us ever really getting below 70 cents a watt hour. I think that's kind of, unless you're going to be buying thousands of watt hours worth, like a Delta Pro or whatever Bluetti's one is. I don't even know what Bluetti's one is. AC 200, I think it's called. But yeah, I'd love to hear you guys, the amount of comments I got on my last video comparing these two right here. I was pleasantly surprised the amount of people that wanted to also voice their opinion on the Internet of Things just being a huge pervasive negative thing in our modern technology world. And I believe you can use an iPhone and still voice your opinion about it. It's not so black and white that I'm not allowed to have a say because I have a MacBook and an iPhone. You are allowed to have a say on Tesla having right to repair issues and still being a proud Tesla owner. That's your right as a consumer. Don't let the corporations take that from you, because there is an attempt to have this, well, you don't like how we do it? That's cool, man. I got that from Future Motion. That's why I have a huge problem with the company. I highly recommend anybody, even if you don't know what a one wheel is, just go look up Future Motion right to repair. It's disturbing. I mean, these people sabotaged their own older boards and reversed the polarity in their own electric board. So anyone that went in and tried to modify anything to do with the battery, replace it or whatever, they would completely jolt their whole system and effectively could ruin it, often did. because they just plugged in the battery with the wrong polarities because the company changed the positive and negative terminal colors to protect you, you know? Like at the end of the day, like there is a very objective falsehood in this to protect you. And we as consumers need to take a step back and say, whoa, 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 what are you guys doing here? Hold on. Like, you're saying that you brick the device when I disconnect the BMS from the battery management system from the battery in your new $2,300 device. You're saying you brick it, and someone who might be in South Africa that you ship to, I have to send it to California so you can plug it up, go into a computer, and just restore the system. Like, and that's for my safety? Are you kidding me? Like, at the end of the day, that's why I don't own a one-wheel GT. I was super excited about the new one-wheel coming out, but then I found out about that, so I just proceeded to get my Pint X, cancel my one-wheel GT order, and I don't have an XR. I used to have a one-wheel plus, but it got stolen. So I have a Pint X now, and at the end of the day, I know a lot of you might have lost me here because I'm talking about something outside of portable power stations, but the point is to relate it back to the inherent app connectivity to function feature. And while Onewheel is not limiting features in their app, they do make it to where you can't even get a tire changed without voiding your warranty. And the company owner comes out on video and says that that's not true, when in the actual manual it specifically states that it's true. So anyways, it's not just Apple, it's not just Bluetti and Ecoflow, it's not just Onewheel, it's BMW and it's Honda. Ford actually has where Honda, just going over right to repair a little bit here, but sorry for the tangent, guys. Anyone still watching, I appreciate you. Just to get this last little bit out here, when it comes to right to repair, that's why I feel like bringing this up right now. Honda has been suing companies selling the schematics for 3D printing parts on their vehicles. Meanwhile, Ford has been providing the schematics for 3D printing parts on their vehicles. So where plenty of people, fix or repair daily, found on road dead, a lot of memes with Ford and not being the greatest with reliability. In my experience, my Fords have not been reliable. I've had over a dozen cars in my years buying and selling them. And I have had bad experiences with Ford. I can say that. But I will probably own another Ford. It's more so, something wasn't, the oil cap was put on too tight or whatever might have gone wrong. Could have gone wrong on any car. Maybe it was more likely on the Ford. But anyways, I wanted to touch on the car aspect of it, because this whole right to repair thing, it's not a right to repair thing. It is a right to ownership. The idea that you could buy a device, a little thing goes wrong in it. Imagine the light goes out on your Bluetti EB3A. So you're like, oh, I know what kind of light bulb that is. And I go to Ace Hardware. I buy another one of those light bulbs. I screw it on, and now the system doesn't work anymore. That's where we're headed. You might think it's crazy, but from what I can see, the steps we're taking, it really seems to be headed that way. BMW is making you pay $18 a month to use the warmth of the electric seat heating feature in your new BMW. There is a company that sells a motorcycle airbag vest that you pay a subscription month to month to keep it working. So if you get in a crash on your motorcycle, your airbag inflates. But if you didn't pay the subscription, it will not. That is where we are headed. No, that is where we are already. And defenders of this company's practice will say, well, you can just go buy the product for the full price and have it activated forever. But it's like, you make a product designed to save lives with inflating a vest, and yet you have something embedded in it basically saying, did I get money this month? Am I going to keep working? You put that inside of the system of that airbag vest. Theoretically, I know that there's probably, some lawsuit waiting to happen down the road with this type of stuff once you get in this territory. But theoretically, if you did pay the full price and you got in a car crash or a motorcycle accident and your airbag vest did not inflate, and then you had an investigation done and found out it didn't inflate because the suit just thought it didn't get paid the subscription fee, when in reality you bought it outright, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. But that is the difference between paying $300 for a suit plus a $30 a month, or an airbag vest for a motorcycle, plus a $30 a month subscription fee to keep it working, versus paying $700. So you're talking a $400 differential between basically paying the amount for just using it month to month and paying the amount outright to just own it. But in my mind, logically, I just feel like there's a scenario where some guy is going to get in an accident on a motorcycle with one of those vests on, who bought it outright, but the chip is like thinking that it's on the subscription and it hasn't been paid, and the vest doesn't go off. And to some degree, this is on the consumers for buying these products. And I'm guilty as charged, owning Apple products and overpriced Yeti products and all these plug and play portable power stations, but they're nice to have, and I refuse to be completely left behind. I like gaming. I like quick accessibility. But there's a line that I draw, and my line might be different than you. I even use Face ID. So like at the end of the day, everybody has a different, line they draw, but I believe overwhelmingly a user is personally more inclined to like a product if it has a button on it that allows like all key features to be used, versus you have to use the app to be able to access key features. That's, at the end of the day, it all circles back to two main things. Is the company trying to get a monthly fee out of you? If they're trying to draw you into an app, you can bet they are. It might not be today or next year, but they are. They're trying, just like, no companies are trying to get your email and name without, having some desire of that information going to someone who wants to get money out of you someday, some way, theoretically. That's why, every time you go to a website, they want your email so bad. Like this data, the sad truth of it is your data is worth more than you. You can watch plenty of videos on people that are far smarter than me on this subject, but the idea that who you are as a person, like your net worth, so to speak, is probably not, if for some people it absolutely is, but generally speaking, it's probably not worth nearly as much as the data in which you acclimate day to day, month to month, year to year. I know for me that's true. And theoretically, even thinking about a billionaire even, the more wealthy you are, the more companies have a huge incentive to, extract who you are, what you like, who you talk to, how you think about this and that. So the more powerful, aka wealthy, you become, the more your data becomes valuable. So anyways, to some degree, it seems unanimously true that your data really is worth more than you. And that's a pretty scary thought, But not here to be the bearer of bad news. Just want to bring up what I think is a total negative aspect of our modern times. And it's kind of like the old comic books, the tinfoil hat wearers of the 1930s. I'm not saying that, there's no such thing as human resilience, Like, I'm not saying there's some 5G zapper in here that's gonna kill us all. What I am saying is, like, right now, objectively, like, these companies are keeping features from us that they are choosing to keep from us. And that's what we need to hammer when we're talking to them, even as, consumers of their products, their customer base. So I yield most of my thoughts to any of the commenters. Any corrections you guys have to make, I apologize. Sorry about that. I apologize for my ums and ahs. This was a long form video, not intended to have been drawn on this long, but essentially I just kind of dragged on what I was intending to be like a few different videos into one main topic. So hopefully I can create a relevant enough title to where I can garner your guys' attention for the group in which I think would benefit the most off of what I've talked about here. But yeah, anyways, here I am boiling water. There's about water to that line, maybe 10 ounces, 12 ounces or so, 96 degrees Celsius, boiling out of the EB3A. Which I just think this is, the coolest thing, guys. I mean, look at that. A 10-pound Life PO4 generator, boiling water. Just so a man can drink some tea. And yeah, at the end of the day, like that's pretty much all I have to talk about right now. I'm looking forward to more of this style of video. One big thing is I'll be working on my editing in the near future here. And apparently, so right now I'm recording this on a computer webcam, but my phone is coming out with an update, iOS 16. I guess I'll be able to clip this onto like my computer and see like my face on the screen of the computer, but it'll be in 1080p quality, and I can still have it connected to my microphone. So I'm looking forward to having better quality videos and everything, and just yeah, for a quick little finalization, if you've stuck around for this 40-50 minutes or whatever, what is this? What are we at? An hour and 12 minutes, yeah. So whoever stuck around this long, congratulations. This is one of my earlier long-form YouTube videos, and down the road, as I have plenty of more videos, I'm sure some people will actually go back and watch some of these. But some of the things that I feel like I'll bring up a lot, I own and sell and have sold many surfboards. I've sold like 100 surfboards in the last like 5 or 6 years. And in my opinion, if you're not like, a super pro surfer, like there's some surf companies that make boards that are like higher quality in terms of durability than other boards, and they do sacrifice weight for it. But anyways, one of those brands is called LibTech, LIBTECH. Nothing to do with liberal politics. That's just kind of like their name. Yeah. But another one is called Tough Light. It's Tough Light technology. But Tough Light suffers with more shorter boards. There's some weird kind of like no flex to it. But anyways, talking to surfers here, pretty much spent the overwhelming majority of my life in San Diego and Kauai and a little bit on the Oregon coast. And I have quite a bit of a perspective of, like shore breaks and reef breaks. And I've snapped a lot of surfboards. I've slowly over the years, due to my clumsiness, broken maybe 5 or 6 surfboards in parking lots. So anyways, like my channel will be, generally speaking, me talking long form while, drinking tea, maybe even with friends. I'm here at, just try to show some of the ocean, but I'm here at a view that looks over the beach, and, yeah, anyways, I feel very blessed to have the life I have. and to be where I'm at. And I feel like I have some perspectives to share that some of you might find pretty good, especially if you're looking for my philosophical viewpoints on stuff. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and share that right now too, because I've been talking about the right to repair stuff and whatnot. I'm gonna keep this, generally speaking, non-American politics here, but generally speaking, I have grown up in like a very left-wing environment, and since coronavirus especially, I've had a lot of problems with the way local governments and state governments in more democratically run states are. Like, I could go on and on, but I've been in California for the majority of 2021 and 2022, and I was in Oregon, and I've been in Hawaii since from 2014 to 2019, and I'll just say that essentially, I'm not looking to just talk politics, but I am looking to some degree kind of like read over day-to-day news and kind of garner a little audience to start doing that with. And I'll be doing that with groups. I'll be doing that while drinking tea. I'll be doing that in any place that I can find some privacy. So be it whether it's in my van, or maybe it's at like a bluff over at Black's Beach or somewhere. I mean, there's a lot of potential to kind of just talk and just sit and talk, and I tend to think a lot, and so just anyways, I don't want to get too into my political views right now, because this video has drawn on way too long and it's not related to my personal politics, but I brought up the right to repair, so I want to go ahead and bring up my plan going forward with this channel is to discuss with my viewers, and I'm super open to being wrong on any particular issue that you feel like I'm wrong on. That's where I feel like I differ from your average guy that wants to share, views and perspectives and stuff, is like, I'm okay with the idea that I'm not right. Almost like, like if you listen to like Ben Shapiro, like just the way he talks is very, as a matter of fact, like, I'm not so sure. I'm 27 years old, and I didn't go to school for economics or anything like that. I took like a restaurant management course, and I've worked in restaurants and sales my whole adult life. So as a working American, I feel like I have some perspectives to share. But I'm looking to be back in this internet world, because there's something really beautiful about being able to say, like, hey, my thoughts on abortion is this, and see how you guys react to it. Hey, my thoughts on Donald Trump is this. Like, first off, I'm not trying to do that, because the blatant disagreements that go down the line, it's not as fun to me. I don't care what some random guy has to, say about what he thinks about some random political thing. What I do think I personally find interesting is watching what some random guy has to say about some news topic. Kind of like the idea of, let me cover some Democrat, some liberal, some left-wing media that I disagree with, and let me cover some conservative media that I disagree with. Then let me cover some of both that I do agree with, because on either side of the political spectrum, there will be points that I can't refute, have efficacy, have some rationale, some base in reality. So anyways, that's where I'm looking to go with this channel, and I have an ability to contextualize my own opinions in a way that I think a fellow working American that, I'll put it this way, I don't believe our gas nearly tripled in price in, a year and a half. I don't think that was because of Putin's price hike, as Joe Biden has said it is. I think that's completely a lie. And the fact is, I was sitting there before the Ukraine war started, wondering how gas had doubled. And then the Ukraine war started, and all of a sudden I'm hearing in the left-wing media how the price is so high. It did raise another 50 cents pretty much overnight, but all the headlines are Putin's price hike, the Ukraine war and how it's affecting the gas. But it's like, we didn't go over any of Biden's domestic and foreign policies and how that nearly doubled the gas prices. And that's something that even like Ben Shapiro or Matt Walsh or Don Lemon or Trevor Noah, I'm just going right to left there. But, and some people that'll say Don Lemon is not left wing, he works at CNN, get out of here. No, he's not unbiased. And Tucker Carlson's not unbiased either. But I'm not going to play a game like there's some world that Don Lemon is a centrist or Tucker Carlson's a centrist or Ben Shapiro's a centrist. I believe I'm coming from a somewhat centered view of things. So if you think that's interesting and you'd like to see more videos related to my views on not just politics, but even like religion and philosophies, I have a lot of ideas, and I've studied Christianity, and I was a devoted Catholic when I first moved out of my house at 18 years old for 4 months. And yeah, I mean, you learn a lot in a few months about a religion. And I've learned extensively about just various forms of Christianity since then, and a little bit here and there studying the Torah and how similar it is to the Bible in terms of philosophical views. Just at the end of the day, like, I do believe most people in the world, generally speaking, like, they might not be the most have the best moral compass. I might not have the best moral compass, but I believe that I'm doing my best to be open-minded, that even if I don't, then more information can come at me that I can change. And I'm open to that. But I'm also, if you're going to come in and say, if you don't wear a mask, you're killing grandma, I'm going to question you. And I'm gonna ask, why, how, and if we finish our conversation and you say, I got him, I told him this expert, this scientist, this guy, if I have anything to say back, whether it's something that I believe is valid, some Fauci's ties to Bill Gates organization, whatever it might be, I'm not saying that's even what I'm trying to bring into the conversation about masks or something. My point is, there is no topic that you can bring to me that I will walk away saying, like, you had no validity at all. Nothing you said had any truth to it at all. I believe almost everybody speaks generally, mostly like truths. The best lies are mostly truths. Like, at the end of the day, like, that's not to say Putin's price hike wasn't mostly Biden's foreign and domestic policy, but it is to say, like, to some degree, like, when they say focus on this, maybe that thing was a super pervasive effect that led to whatever we're talking about, but it's almost as if their hand directing towards our focus is always there for some like malicious reason. That's how it seems. Again, this video now what are we going into, like an hour and 23 minutes? Anyways, this is gonna take me forever to upload, guys. But I really appreciate any of your comments, any of your criticisms, even me bringing up politics into this. Like, at the end of the day, if you hate that, down like the video, comment that you don't like me, and like whatever, man. Thanks for the comment, thanks for the watch. And if you like me bringing this stuff up, man, I'll say this: I don't support Trump. I don't support him, and I didn't vote for him in either of the elections. I really liked the way America was going until coronavirus throughout Trump's administration. Like, look, the economy was doing great, and the prices of your everyday thing was cheaper than ever. It was easy to get a job, like a regular job, like just even like a decent job. Like, you could go get a headhunting job with like a small sales background or something. I mean, I was really surprised, and I have watched from the west coast of the USA, like, since 2020, this downfall of American society. And yes, we were already on a downfall. And you can argue all you want. Well, he said grab him, or he said march to the, or whatever you have to say for, some cut phrase that he said, that apparently me thinking that somehow a man that might not have the best moral compass, he's a billionaire that literally lived a completely pampered life, like, generally speaking. Yeah, he had hardships. So did Joe Biden, actually. Is the sad truth of it. And to some degree, it's kind of corrupt that we're roasting him like this. I mean, he's done plenty of questionable things, and I think he deserves to be in the fire he's in now. But I can't help but feel bad for seeing a 70-something-year-old man that can barely put a sentence together, just being roasted like this. I mean, I felt it with Trump too. So it's like, you can hate me, conservatives, all you want, for basically saying I didn't support Trump in 2020. They're like, how could you have not have? One word: Jabbo. I didn't like him getting $1 million from, I believe, Pfizer, and all of a sudden, Operation Warp Speed. Let's just give so much money to this idea that somehow we can create a safe and effective. It's safe and effective. If you say it enough, it's true, right? Safe and effective. Safe and effective. Like, get out of here, man. Safe and effective means it's been proven to be safe and effective. You do not create something that has a lot of questionable ingredients and scream it's safe and effective while running to the ones that rule society and make the laws and say, hey man, I really need you to make this law that basically if a ton of people just drop dead from this, then their families can't sue me. Like, they can't get life insurance money. It's capped at $250,000. And they're like, oh, well, the El Jabbo Child Act of, I believe, 1987, that you guys are totally unsuable. You're good. You can. And they're like, no, that's not enough though. I need you guys to be able to. I need you guys to be able to guarantee that if literally millions die from this, then I am exempt from lawsuits. I am exempt from Nuremberg trials. I mean, I don't really know all that, but it seems like that. It did with the Operation Warp Speed. Like, at the end of the day, I guess I have I watch a lot of Joe Rogan. Come out and say it. I have in line with Joe Rogan's view on the thing. The vaccine. Yeah, I said it. I was trying to not say it for the algorithm. But anyways, El Jabbo, as I like to normally call it. Look, it has provably helped a lot of people. That's not to say it doesn't have literally dire consequences for some of the people it hasn't helped. And for all we know, it's a slow reaction. That's the scary thought, is this mRNA gene therapy, which, if you look up, WHO changed definition of El Jabbo to include mRNA gene therapy in October of 2020. I was never an anti-El Jabbo. I was an anti-mRNA gene therapy because the evidence showed that it was very dangerous. And then all they did was add this new medical practice to this, definition. And now you're an if you basically don't believe in mRNA gene therapy, which is highly questionable, and plenty of medical professionals had voiced opinions on not only why it wasn't necessary, but why it wasn't justifiable because of the risks. Or sorry, not only why it wasn't justifiable, but also why it wasn't necessary. Sorry, I flipped it. Because of the virus actually, 92% of patients had died from the CV. It was something like 92% of them in the U.S. per CDC had 2 or more comorbidities. So 2 or more, whether it was diabetes or morbid obesity, that's just absurd. So anyways, I've gone on and on and on here. I hope that any of you that watched, especially the generator review, a lot of why I became open to talk about some more of my views on some of the modern state of affairs we're in with politics and whatnot. A lot of that is related to the response I've gotten from voicing just some of my opinions on whether it's the IoT, the Internet of Things, or the right to repair. And even just bringing up gas, man. One thing, when I talk to my I do still have friends in California that lean left. However, I will say, as someone that never wore a face nappy, personally, like, those friends proved who they were and weren't in 2020, because the ones that were like, I'm not going to be your friend because you're so brainwashed that you don't think that you need to change your lifestyle, like, or else you're not saving grandma, you're a murderer. The idea that some people think like that, to me, was like, all right, well, you're better off not a friend anyways, so whatever. I lost some friends in 2020 because of me saying I don't want to wear a mask. Like, I'm not saying I don't think it does anything. I'm saying it's absolutely there to virtue signal compliance. That's why it's there. It's not there for your safety. It's clearly not. You could see countless videos of politicians on the corner of a stage with no mask on, not even on their chin, and they put it on, they walk up to the podium and take it off to give their speech. It's disgusting. And those of you that were enforcing your beliefs in the heroism of saving grandma over the virtue signaling, screw you. You really, I have plenty of friends that look, if you were a mom raising a kid and you're like I'm too afraid, okay, you know what, even me, if I saw an old person in a store, I didn't wear one in California, Oregon, Washington, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. I was all over. I had a girlfriend from Minnesota in 2020, hopping all over. And for me, I didn't wear one out of principle that I don't trust Dr. Fauci, the highest paid federal employee. I don't trust Gavin Newsom, who extended his mandate and then the next day went to a dinner indoors with 20-something people. The only relative he had was his wife. Nobody had one, even on their chin. And it's like you have people literally bashing people's faces in because they're not complying when the ones writing the rules aren't complying. Like Nancy Pelosi went to get her hair cut and she wasn't wearing one even over her face. This is in like April, May, sometime early or mid 2020. It's like right at the peak of the, if you don't do this, you're killing grandma. And then they go off and they don't wear it. And it's like, so that's where I'm coming from, guys. Like, at the end of the day, I am saying if our leaders want to enforce a law they will not follow, and my response is, I'm not following it, they're not following it. I'm not saying that I'm following the morals of a politician. Clearly they have morals, because my response when I would say this would be, generally people would tell me basically like, oh, well, obviously like politicians aren't moral. And it's like, so why are you listening to their laws? Why are you, I'm not saying be an anarchist, okay? Laws are made with purpose. Like, very often, most of our fundamental laws in our society were made with some good rationale. But these mandates were never laws in almost any state or city. There were some, but for the most part, the Constitution can overturn a lot of these. And a lot of cops would claim that they can't enforce these because they're mandates, not laws. And one example I have being in a Southern California city, I was in one of the few cities of Southern California that you were allowed to surf if you lived walking distance to the beach. Now think about the insidious, arbitrary nature of walking distance. What does that mean? The more laws have jargon that is very undefinable in a blunt way, the more problems we have. I think the problem they had is they can't say within 3 miles because they're afraid of how can you segregate us like that. So if you live near the beach or anyways, 2020 woke me up to the fact that our two-party system is what seems to be hopelessly gone. But I still believe in the fundamentals of American society. I do not dissect America as a whole from our Christian foundations. And I think that's true in virtually any Western country. That there is, I would say, a Christian and then a Jewish background that radiates and permeates through the society. I think that's generally true. But again, please, anybody with disagreements to me, I'm going to upload this as a full-form video because I'm looking to find more people that I can relate to, agree with, and disagree with, but still relate to. So even if you disagree with me, if you feel like there's anything that I have of value that I've shared here, even if it's on the portable power stations, but you just stayed through my whole speech out of, might as well, I'm sitting here listening while I'm driving, whatever. Who knows? But my last video got like an 80-something% engagement rate, and it was me just talking for like 30 minutes, and I was really surprised about that. And most of the comments were overwhelmingly positive, talking about like, oh, you mentioned the IoT. I'm so frustrated with the Internet of Things. Like, thanks for mentioning that and stuff. So that's where I want to talk more about the politics in our world, because everything seems like it's upside down. And I believe that you can talk about things I can talk about transgenders and sports as a straight white male. I have a right as an American to do that. And you don't have a right. It triggers me that you label me as a transphobe. All right, I'm going to devour. Peace.